Yo, I may cuss, but I don't curse. Let's get that situated first. Back by popular demand and talk about dating in relationships. Let's just hop right into it. I'm starting with the fellas. Fellas, let's break the ice, do the gender war thing, get it out of the way before I start talking about dating, the signs again. Now, look, something very important I feel needs to be addressed out here, fellas. And if I'm preaching to the choir, you could just say amen in the comment section. You know what I'm saying? Don't feel like I'm preaching at you or I'm talking at you. Some people need to hear this or need to hear it again. You know what I mean? First thing we need to address is love. Knowing what love is, and I'm coming from an astrologist's perspective. Shout out to all of the people that are new subscribers. I see y'all. Thank you for being here. But in case you didn't know, and you just seen the relationship videos, which has been getting a lot of traction lately, I'm an astrologer. So I'm coming at this pause from an astrologist's perspective. So when I talk about love, we need to know what love is. Love is ruled by the planet Venus, and in astrology, that deals with two or more people. It takes two to tango. When people engage with one another in an exchange of value in layman's terms, right? So engage, keyword engage. Engagement rings is what we put on people when we say that we love them, right or wrong. So why are we confusing love so much, fellas? Why are we confusing love so much? So again, let me speak in layman's terms, right? If somebody offers you a job, you're doing construction. If I got a job, a gig somewhere, somebody offers me to do the job. They offer you to do the job. They say they're going to pay you X amount of dollars. You come, you look at the terms, the conditions. You agree with the terms and the conditions. You go do the gig. They pay you. Fair exchange, no robbery. Exchange of value, right? Not only that, they have confirmed that they value you. They have validated that they value you by saying, oh, yo, I looked you up, I seen you, this and the third, LinkedIn, wherever. Therefore, I want you to be here. I'm going to pay you this. They do it, and you may do this on a continuous basis. This is looking at love in a Taurian aspect because it deals with the self-love. I'm doing this for myself. Yeah, I want a new pair of sneakers, so I'm going to go get that gig. I'm going to get the sneakers. I'm going to get the outfit to match. I'm going to go out in it. I'm going to eat in the restaurant by myself, whatever, right? However you choose to do it. It's still love. But what we're missing in the element when it comes to dating women, fellas, is this. A lot of the times, what I see, what I observe, what I hear from my clients and things of that nature is this. We are either calling the situation that we're in love without it being love, or we are expecting, or not expecting, should I say, an exchange of value from the broads that we're dealing with, and then dudes are acting hurt behind it. So we need to be able to differentiate. And if we got to use astrology to do it, so be it. You know what I mean? But let's start there. That Venus is an exchange of value. So you mean to tell me that you read the terms and conditions of a job offer, that they confirm and validate you for your worth with payment? You know what to expect from them, right? When we do it on a repeated level, we know what to expect when we get there based on the terms and the conditions. And if we don't like the terms and the conditions, what do? We negotiate, also ruled by Libra, also ruled by relationships, also ruled by Venus. We negotiate the terms to what better suits us. So if we're involved with women that we claim to love, why are we not expecting something from her? That's the baffling part for me. That's what needs to be addressed and needs to be discussed more. We need to have hard conversations. Be paused. Hey, yo, that's crazy work, but I'm serious. That needs to be addressed. Because I'm going to tell you right now, if you claim to love a broad or she claims to love you, and y'all have a shared experience, what I'm about to get to, and you don't expect anything from her, you's a fucking fool. How is she not validating what you're worth, but the people that you work for are validating what you're worth? But she's not? That's an issue. And then, again, I must stress this. If it's not love, it's not love, but let's call it what it is. Let's call a spade a spade. If you are just out there and you're having fun, let's associate that with the sun. Bars, I'm nice. We know that already. But that's what it is in astrology. That generous soul that doesn't care what the tab is. Look, that's just my personality, ma. You don't got to go in your pocketbook. And not for nothing, I'm going to stop calling dating the fifth house. I'm on record saying that dating is the fifth house. I'm refraining from doing that. I stand corrected now. Dating is not the fifth house, because dating actually takes people planning to sit down and meet up at a certain place, date, and time. And that takes structure. That is more along the lines of being in an actual relationship. But the fifth house is more like, let's say somebody posts a flyer on Instagram. They say, yo, look, People going to be at this spot on this night, da 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 da. And you see on the list of who's invited and who's going, and shorty see that you are one of the people that are going, and she happens to show up there because she knows you're going to be there. That's not a date. That's people showing up at an event, which is fifth house and Leo related. And when you're there, like I said, you might pay the tab and foot the bill and all that, and you just there having fun. Everybody's meeting up there to see who's going to go home with who, where's the after party at, things of that nature, if it goes down like that, right? It's a game of chance. It's speculation. That's fifth house, that's Leo. So we need to differentiate and call it what it is. And if we ever get caught up in a conversation with these women, we need to let them know what it is. I know some people be like, honesty ain't the best policy. I ain't getting no ass because I'm too honest. And I understand that. But so what? Because it's going to benefit you in the short run, especially when we're talking about personality, individuality, your ego. Let them know up front so you don't be wasting your time. Because if you do want to have something long term, which I am gathering is what you're aiming for, fellas, if you're talking about relationships, then you should be upfront about those types of situations. Because Saturn is exalted in Libra for a reason. Libra energy on its own is too flimsy, flaky, undecided, one time this way, next time they that way. Libra rules over politics. So how many times have we seen videos chopped up to where a politician is saying this thing on that term, and then 4 years later they're saying the exact opposite in the same topic? That's Libra energy. So Saturn, which is stern, steps in and says, listen, I see you two have been shot by Cupid's love bug, and y'all are an item now. Y'all are in a relationship. Therefore, I'm stepping in to tell y'all have shared obligations, shared responsibilities, which brings me to the next step. There's this thing happening in relationships, and I see this from observation. I see this in my own experiences, and I see this with my clients as well. When they're talking about relationships and stuff, there's this thing called shared experiences and shared responsibilities. Now, they don't have to be a correlation, but if you're in a relationship, you're aiming to look for the correlation. And one of them is different from the other. They're not the same thing. They're not the same language. Someone was just talking to me last night, and they said, in psychology, the average person is in a relationship from 7 to 8 years, and then it ends. And I was wowed by it. And I studied psychology too, but they put me on it, and I was like, wow. And it made me remember that even in the court system, they say, common law marriage is when you're together for 7 years. The reason why I bring that up is because between 7 and 8 years, about 8 years is a Venus return. That's shared experiences, right? Two to tango, engagement between two lovers, right? Venus language. So you mean to tell me there's about at least 3 Venus returns within one Saturn return? Now, Saturn represents the shared responsibilities. Saturn represents responsibility, refraining, restriction, because you have responsibilities and duties. So a lot of us are in these situationships, I'm going to call them, and we're thinking they're relationships. But if we're not holding the other person to a high regard to say, look, we have now entered a situation where we have shared responsibilities, then why are we prolonging that? Why are we calling that a relationship? Because if there's no shared responsibilities, there's no relationship to where you're thinking long term and trying to establish something with short. Now, they don't have to be correlated. So I know some ladies that are probably watching this are kind of like, I'm not there to be your mommy and you looking for help, nigga, and all that. I done heard it all. I seen it all. You understand what I'm saying? And in some situations, it's true. If you want to build something together, then yeah, you do want to have a shared responsibility to build something together. But my point is this. If you're going to differentiate the two, know the difference between the language. Venus is about the love, meaning we might be interacting with each other, all on top of each other, like the honeymoon phase of a relationship. That's a Venus return. It might last 7 to 8 years, and then it's done. It's over with. We fall out, whatever the case may be. It ain't hitting like it used to, whatever the case may be, right? But you're ducking, or they're ducking the shared responsibilities when they do that. And dudes, if y'all are looking for that in the beginning and y'all are not stating that and y'all are not setting up no foundation, no structure, no ground rules, then you're setting yourself up for failure. And don't end up being an angry TikToker who's talking about, yo, I'm moving to Thailand, man. Fuck these American broads. All they want is money. All they want is this. Or they just want to use you up, right? Because it's expensive outside. And Venus rules over expenditures. It rules over courtship. It rules over those things that are Libra and light, but it's flaky, right? And it's a personal planet at that. So anytime you're dealing with personal planets, the moon, the sun, Mercury, Venus, Mars, people can check out, and rightfully so, because it's a personal thing. Everybody got their own natal chart despite y'all having a synastry chart. So it's rightfully so. But you got to prepare, because Saturn is a transitional planet. So if you're looking for something long term and you want to do something that's bigger than it just being personal, then that needs to be solidified. Now, your Venus and your Saturns may not match right. It may not match right. And they may say, you know, well, I have fun with you in the bed. Y'all might have both high degree Venuses get along great in the bed, but they not so with your whole rules and regulations, and let's set some structure and plan for the future. They like, yo, that's weirding me out, bro. Like, you fucking this whole thing up for me. Their Saturn might be at 6 degrees, yours might be at 28. Are you willing to deal with that? Can you live with that? Can you deal with that? And can you just tell yourself, like, yo, you know what? This is a good time for a short time, instead of putting all your eggs in that basket and risk being that angry TikToker. That's something that needs to be looked at, because Saturn is exalted in Libra for a reason. Like I said, it needs to be stern enough to step in and say, we're not doing this. Sometimes you're hot, sometimes we're not. We're not doing that. And if we are, then we're either just having a fling thing, which is bound to last about maybe 7 to 8 years. And we're going to call it love. Yeah, we was in love before, and, you know, that transpired and it happened, and on to the next, which is fine if that's what it is. You understand? But let's not forget about shared responsibilities when you're thinking long term. That's what a relationship is, y'all. You know what I'm saying? Like, now, if you want something different, differentiate it with the planetary signs, with the planets. You know what I mean? Another thing that needs to be addressed, guys, we got to start taking better care of ourselves, because a lot of us are failing in the bedroom, and now this hypergamy word tossed around a lot, right? Women are off the chain, they all over fucking and this and the third, and it's because men are not being sexually efficient in the bedroom like they need to be, like we need to be. Some of y'all, again, I'm preaching to the choir, y'all are on top of that, whatever the case may be, but I even stand to that regard, because I attest to some broads leaving me like not too long ago, just not dealing with me like that no more, you know what I'm saying, because of my selfish ways, put it that way. You understand what I'm saying? And I'm looking at myself like, oh, I got the type of workload that I deserve to be able to take off this amount of time. And nah, it ain't what it is. We got to look at when we getting some, as we're going in there like it's our very last time. No, let me rephrase that, bring that back. Not as our very last time, but this is the time that this is our shot right here. So we got to start putting them to sleep again, fellas, is what I'm saying. I remember back in my prime, well, maybe I'm in my prime now and I'm just overlooking that, but that was my whole focus and mentality going in. You know what I mean? And it worked spectacularly. So we need to get back to that. We need to also watch what we eat, because a woman will always toss around the whole, you know, a way to a man's heart is through his stomach. Well, what are you preparing? What is she preparing for you, dude? And we can't be reliant on that. We got to start preparing our own foods and taking better care of our health, because, you know, not for nothing, you got to argue with a broad to like swallow semen these days. And depending on who you're dealing with, you know what I'm saying? It's just like, I bring that up not to get some head on the guy head thousands of times. What I'm saying is this, right? Look at the biology of humanity. Men are put on this planet Earth, and we are given ball juice, which is sustainable. It creates whole human beings. And it is clinically proven of the health benefits that comes from if a woman consumes it. Now, we could debate this all day long if you think that that is illogical or degrading, ladies. We can also debate the other side of that, of whether killing children before they come out of the womb is illogical. You know what I'm saying? We can debate that till we blue in the face. I got a Virgo moon, let's do it. What I'm saying is this: it's scientifically proven that it benefits you. And what would you say? You know, I'm gonna keep it a beam with you. I'll tell abroad. You know what I'm saying? If I'm going down on you and I'm nice, we know that already. Well, y'all don't know. Everybody don't know that already, but I'm nice. If I go down on you and you taste like Pepsi and Popeyes, then we need to have a hard conversation. We're gonna have a hard conversation. Pause. Hey, yo. We're gonna have that conversation, and not to degrade you or the nah. Let's have that conversation. Like, it could be fun. It could be healthy. Because look, I see you be, if it's on the other foot, I see you like eating chocolate covered strawberries and pineapples and stuff like that, then that's the stuff that I'm going to consume, and I can help you out clinically. You understand what I'm saying? Let's start taking this more seriously. Why are we not taking these things more seriously? Why are we not having the hard conversations? Because we want something quick and easy. Or maybe we just wasn't exposed to this. Nobody teaches this in classes. Nobody goes to school and learns this stuff. And people want to act macho and be like, oh, but we're men. Or, you know, you was taught by your grandmother how to eat pickles and when you was 16 and all that. Listen, no one's really given a thorough rundown on what it is that we are out here doing and what it is that we should be out here doing. If you're playing the game of life, just keep it a bean with yourself. So we need that because, again, fellas, what happens when we're not waking up with the morning wood? You know, when women wake up to the morning wood when you was in love, or if she waking up with you now, or when she spent the night, the morning wood, she roll over, you still sleep, she feel it. She like, oh, she ain't trying to let you leave out of the house like that. She get it popping immediately. You could still be sleeping. That's a great signal of life right there. But when it stops, that's another signal for you to pay attention. Right? Because in those days, this man, a chick will act like, a chick will get crazy. She know you wake up hard and stuff like that. She like, you not going out of this house and going to end up poking somebody in the eye. Even worse, going to do another broad with that, leaving your balls empty right on the spot. Right? That's how she getting it down early in the morning, right or wrong. So those are the good times. Got to get back to the good times. If you're not at the good times, these are signals. And not for nothing, like I know there's tons of videos on the whole semen retention thing and all that, y'all. Listen, gurus on it and masters at it and this and the third. Listen, I know the benefits of semen retention too and the Christos oil and all of that stuff, right? But I'm not running around with picket signs and championing it and celebrating it like that and yelling at the rooftops about it. I'm not. Reason being is because you got to release that, B. Every 9 days nut. Well, when you're at my age, every 9 days nut. I listen to the Maoism theory. And not for nothing, I came up with it on my own before I heard of the Maoism theory. And I seen it in my news feed. And I was like, look at the synchronicity right here. Like, this is exactly what I was thinking about. Because it can interrupt with your prostate health when you don't release. So, again, you don't want to be the angry TikToker that's like, yo, I'm moving to Thailand. Fuck these bitches. Fuck these American bitches. Nigga, you mad. You too mad. You need to go nut, my nigga. Go bust a nut. If you're not willing to give it to them because they ain't worth your standards, they're not worth this. I get it, bro. But you gotta go let one go, B. That's why you so mad. You gotta go let one go, bro. For real. That's why you so upset at these broads and everything. And you teaching everybody, you teaching the young men. You do what you do, right? But you're just teaching young men and you're sending messages to the young men that women are not good, women are not cool. Interacting with women are not cool, but in a way to where you got to deprive yourself from feeling satisfaction or feeling good. You depriving yourself from self-love is a form of torture. What happens, or what can potentially happen in the long run, is your prostate health gets messed up because us men, we got ball juice down there, and the more that we consume foods and nutrients, the more our ball juice grows. And the more it grows, the more it gets backed up, and it's all down there in the same area. So you mean to tell me you just walking around with balls swinging of ball juice and you not ever letting it go? That's not healthy, B. It's not healthy. Just do the science, go do the research, go look at peer-reviewed literature and go see for yourself, you know? So that's another thing that needs addressing, B, for real, because that's why women are out there, because women are here to receive. You know what I'm saying? They are allowed to run wild in the bedroom, open up, and just let you have at it. You know what I'm saying? It's up to us. We are in control of the magic stick. It's up to us to stay stiff and pay attention. Be aware that we got to stay hard. Like, I'm just keeping it a being. Again, if I'm preaching to the choir, I'm preaching to the choir. You can turn the video off now. You know what I'm saying? But it's up to us to control that magic stick and lay it down in the bedroom should we take it to that level. You know what I'm saying? Put her to sleep. Because you know us, we could squeeze one off in the beginning and that's it. Roll over, go to sleep. And then you wonder why she got the toy afterwards or why she now in the group chats and they looking at dick pics together and all that. And now they planning girls' night out and girl trips. I'm just saying. I'll talk about the ladies next time. Until next time, I'm out.